Hello, everybody. David Shuster here. There has been a dramatic twist in the U.S. war in Iran, so we're putting this video out there as the story continues to develop. Multiple news organizations are now reporting that a U.S. warplane was shot down a few hours ago over southern Iran. And based on some of the wreckage and debris that have now popped up in images on social media, there is every indication that this was an F-15E Strike Eagle. It is a fighter jet that has a two-person crew, the pilot and the weapons systems officer. Some of the wreckage indicates that, in fact, you're looking at some wreckage now, which suggests this is a McDonnell Douglas Advanced Concept Ejection System. That is the ejection system that goes along with the F-15E. The problem with this particular image is that it suggests that one of the parachutes did not deploy, and so there are some unconfirmed reports that one of the U.S. crew members may have died. The status of the other crew member, at least as of this video, has not yet been determined. And again, based on the wreckage, this was an F-15E. The stabilizer, Iranian media has showed images of the stabilizer of the warplane, which has the markings of the United States Air Force 494th Fighter Squadron. This is based in Lockheath, the United Kingdom. So an F-15 based in the UK that was deployed to the Middle East for Operation Epic Fury. Some video taken by residents in southern Iran, and again, posted on social media, has shown U.S. Air Force HC-130 combat search and rescue planes circling very low altitude over parts of southern Iran, presumably to try to search for the crew. There have also been images of a UH-60 Black Hawk helicopter. That's another system that the United States often uses in search and rescue or recovery missions. There are a lot of reports and unconfirmed reports again that Iran has already captured at least one of the crew members by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Again, these are unconfirmed reports, but we're putting it out there because there are some claims now in Iran that at least one of the crew members has been captured and the status of the other has not been determined. It's possible that Iran has both. Or has one, or maybe it's possible that in fact they're still looking, and maybe as part of the propaganda efforts and the psychological war of information and back and forth, they're making claims that are not true. In the meantime, though, Iran state media took to the air a short time ago with their news anchor woman urging Iranians in southern Iran to try to help capture the crew and bring them into the custody of Iranian forces. Back here in the United States, there has been no official comment from the Pentagon or the Trump administration. The last posting from President Trump on social media was this. He wrote, "With a little more time, we can easily open the Hormuz Strait, take the oil, and make a fortune. It would be a gusher for the world, ? President Donald J. Trump. No mention of what happened this morning with the U.S. Air Force crew and the F-15E crew that was apparently shot down. This brings up all sorts of interesting policy decisions, both for the Iranians and for the United States and Israel. Because if you push this forward and assume that Iran has been able to capture a U.S. pilot, and that has happened. This would be the first time that has happened in this war against Iran, but it did happen in the two Iraq wars. It sets up an interesting conundrum in terms of what does Iran do? Does Iran hold the pilot up for leverage? Do they put them in a secret location so the United States cannot try to find and trace where the pilots have been taken to? Remember that Israel has countless sources and agents on the ground throughout Iran that might be able to help U.S. forces pinpoint where the pilot has been taken. The other part about it is, what does the United States do? Does the Trump administration start talking about it and making threats? Do they agree to make a deal in order to get the pilot's safe return? I hate to talk about the politics in all of this, but you can imagine how the political equation starts to change if Iran posts videos or images of a downed U.S. pilot, an injured U.S. pilot, and they're forcing him to make either confessions or they're threatening to carry out some sort of punishment against him. One of the things that's very different about how this incident is playing out compared to the Iraq War, which I covered from CENTCOM in Doha, Qatar 23 years ago, is that it's playing out in social media almost sort of in real time. Whereas, and what I mean is that back in the Iraq War in 2003, when I was at NBC News, we got some information through our Pentagon sources that, in fact, a U.S. warplane had been shot down by the Iraqis. And we went to the CENTCOM officials to try to get confirmation from that. And they pulled us aside and said, okay, let's go off the record. And they said, we can confirm off the record that yes, U.S. aircrew has been shot down by the Iraqis. We're in the midst of a search and rescue mission, so we're asking you not to publish, don't report this information until the mission is complete and the search and rescue teams and the crew are out of Iraqi airspace. Then we will go back to you, and NBC News can be the first to report that there was this incident where Iraq shot down a plane and the crew was rescued or not rescued, whatever the result was. And we agreed to that. And we thought, okay, that's fair, and we don't want to be a news organization that jeopardizes the safety of U.S. Crews. So we agreed, and several hours later, CENTCOM officials came to us and said, okay, we've got the crew, we rescued them. Here's all the information about how this happened. Here's the type of airplane that it was. Here's the type of assets that were used in the rescue mission, and you have the story first. And so that was, the agreement, and we went on the air and talked about this dramatic rescue of a U.S. crew that had been shot down over Iraq. In this situation in Iran, obviously incredibly different, in part because of the speed of social media. Images are already surfacing on social media of wreckage, of debris, of the ejection seat, even before officials may have an opportunity to understand exactly what the status is of the search and rescue mission. Again, we've seen the videos of the C-130 combat teams that are used by special operation forces to try to go in and pluck out down pilots, and also the Black Hawk helicopters. Those images have been circulating as well. So we know that that operation has been going on for some time. Presumably by now, by the point at which we're putting this video together, there has been some sort of resolution. Either the crew members have been recovered by U.S. forces, or the crew members have been recovered by Iraqi forces, presumably either dead or alive, or both, again, because it's a two-person crew. And then you begin the very difficult political conundrum, both for the Americans and for the Iranians, as far as, well, what do you do now? What do the Iranians do with these crew members if they have them? There's some very sophisticated classified systems that exist with pilots to try to help the United States locate them when they've been shot down or when they've had to eject. Presumably the Iranians know this as well, and I assume if they have a crew member, they've changed their clothes, they've stripped them down naked, they've made sure there's no devices on them, if in fact the pilot was willing to sort of go down without a fight. So all sorts of questions exist. And by the time that you're seeing this video, it really starts to get into the political calculations, the strategic calculations at the highest levels of the United States government and also the Iranian government, along with whatever assistance the Israelis, who have infamously been able to penetrate so many aspects of Iranian society in Tehran and elsewhere to try to develop intelligence and information that might be able to help the United States locate where this pilot or crew has been taken to, if in fact they've already been taken. And then the question becomes, well, what sort of mission might the United States undertake to try to rescue them? Is that something that's possible? The Pentagon normally has all sorts of plans and strategies that they practice in the case of a pilot being shot down. But to actually do it in real time is very, very different. And again, the significance of all of this is the first U.S. warplane that has been shot down in the war against Iran. And it raises all sorts of concerns and questions, political, strategic, military objectives. What is the leverage? So at this moment, again, as we can say, at this moment of this video, there has been no official comment from the Trump administration. There's been no confirmation in Iran that the crew has been taken by Iranian forces, but there's plenty of images and wreckage now indicating an F-15E Strike Eagle, a two-person warplane, was brought down or crashed in southern Iran. There was a pilot member and a weapons systems officer on board. Some unfortunate imagery of the ejection seat suggesting that one of the parachutes did not fully deploy, which would be terrible news for whoever was relying on that. And in all likelihood, they would not survive a partial parachute collapse when they're in a heavy ejection seat. But this story is going to continue to develop, and it harkens back in some ways. You'll remember that the first major conflict the United States had against Iran was the U.S.-Iran hostage crisis in 1979. America held hostage, and you saw the images broadcast nightly on ABC News on Nightline of American diplomats who were taken hostage from the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and were essentially paraded for many days, and then they were kept hostage in secret locations. We may be back into a situation now where an American fighter crew, a pilot or a weapons systems officer, is now held hostage, prisoner of war, presumably if he's taken by Iranian forces, and all sorts of questions about what the Iranians do to that crew member and how the United States responds. Anyway, wanted to try to put this video out there to give you the latest breaking news. You can check in on Rebel HQ and TYT throughout the day for updates. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.